Welcome to this Drupal video for as part of our Drupal SEO series or search engine optimization series. We've always known for SEO that the importance of having URL friendly URL your search engine friendly URLs, right? Okay, that is very important. All right. So what does it mean? It means we have to have a very URL search engine friendly URLs, meaning like for example this one we have a Drupal 10 website which lists contents pet contents, the contents are pets. And if you notice, each of these each of these URLs that has been generated are are using the using the default node numbers assigned, and these are created when incrementally. These are created incrementally every time you upload the node or a content for a particular content type. For example, these pets. Every time you create a node or a content or a pet, they generate slash node slash the incremental ID that's being generated. Every time you add one, it becomes so it adds another one, like 1 2 3 4 5. All right, so this is not really friendly, meaning if I would be looking at this particular pet, what happens now is that it has a node a URL that is not very search engine friendly. But just in case, in this case, this is not really for searchability, but you know client might want that if they want to search for this one. What we want is to have something like a no, like a pattern, a URL pattern like pets, and probably the name of the pet, right? That's what we want. That's what we will show you today how to do that in Drupal. Probably the same steps is still the same for Drupal 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that's good. What we're doing this today is for Drupal 10. So for Drupal 10, and essentially for 8 and 9, basically, you need the Drupal Path Auto module. Okay. Okay. There is already a built-in path module for Drupal, which takes care of the ability customize customize your URL alias, right? You can already customize that as you see fit. Custom URL, right? That is the built-in module provided by the path module. Okay, there is already a core module that came out bundled with the Drupal core installer. So that's the path module. But what we do not have yet is the path auto. All right, the path auto module does what? It automates. It can create an automatic pattern which helps you to automate things. Like for example, if you have decided to do this pattern, every time you upload a pet content type or a pet content item, instead of using the database value, it will generate the default database value still works, no problem, but it will now generate a pattern as you have set. And probably in this case you would want slash pet slash, and then get the value from the title field, whatever the value is provided in the title field, correct, which is basically the name of this content item. And the original node ID will still work, but every time you access that from the browser, it will it will direct to this, to the path auto that has been generated. Okay, so meaning you need to install first the path auto module. In this case, you have already installed that. Normally, you need to install that via here, install new module. Or if you have Composer or you do it by command line, you can use Composer require. And the installation steps are here anyway. So you just need to check that it supports the one that you'll be downloading and installing will support your Drupal version. In this case, our Drupal 10 that's supported. So if you are installing modules via the Composer command line, you can simply do that. Or probably if you want to install but you do not manage by command line, you want to install that via interface, you go here and just copy the URL as provided here, copy the download zip, copy the link, and you can paste that over to the add from a URL and then click install. And once that's installed and enabled, you have to enable that. By default, Drupal does not enable new installed modules. You have to check on that. And once that's enabled, you can now click on configure path auto. Make sure path module is enabled for path auto module to work. It also, the path auto also has some dependencies, meaning if it will not work unless you install one or a few more modules like token. So you need to install that as well and enable. Okay, once those are already in place, just click on configure or path auto configure. In this case, we do not have a pattern yet for our content type, which is the pet or the pets. All right. So we need to add a path auto pattern for that content type. And by clicking add path auto pattern, you can now create a, you need to select which one you will use. So that's content. And the pattern would have to be something like slash pets, but you, how do you need to provide the title field? There must be some token or a short code that refers to the title fields of your pets, right? You put it here, it needs to generate whatever value has been put here and get that and convert that to something URL friendly for the browser and SEO. It means it needs to be converted automatically to something like here. All right? So that's what we're doing here. So from the path pattern, how can we make that? How can we do that to generate it and get it from the title field? You there in Drupal there is a thing called available tokens. There is a thing called tokens in Drupal. So if you click on the tokens, this pop-up will appear and it will give you things like a token or an equivalent uh, variable or a a value from the database. And you'd probably want to go to nodes because knowing Drupal, you know that content types or content items are nodes. And you need to simply look for the title field because in our case, our pet name is has been set up as the title field. All right. So you just need to look for the title, this one, and position your cursor here. And at the end, where you want to insert the token for the title field, and just click on that, it will give you something like this. So in short, this one now becomes this, right? All right. Okay, so it will now try to generate something coming from the value of whatever you have put in the title field. And for this, we're creating for one content type only. So as you can see, you can create consistent or different patterns as you need for different content types. For example, you have news, so slash news, it will now try to create your title, no, the title of the news here. Or if you have a jobs vacancies, probably you'd also have to create titles here, and many more use case as you see fit as you need. Because from the top pattern type alone, Pathauto can support not just content, but it can support anything, media or the files or even users. If you have, for example, members, and it pertains to the user, the users of your website. So you'd probably get the first name or the last name and do fancy patterns as you need, right? And it even works with taxonomy or categorization. So if you have something like a products, the word the text product should, you know, it can be a static text like our pets here, and products, for example, auto generate the categories. Okay, this is the category one, and then do some more additional things like from the category taxonomy term, it will now create the product name and etc. etc. So those are the use cases. So in our case, let's keep it simple. So what we want is to provide a label so that you will know what path auto pattern you're creating. So this is a content that has to do with my content type pets. All right. Okay. So it can be anything. It's just a label for your reference. But take note, it saves things in the database that you can actually see. All right. You know, for advanced programming. All right. Then click enable. So what does it do? It will now, you now have a pattern. If you refresh this, previously, what works here is just the path module where you can create your custom content type, right? Your custom pattern. But if you refresh this now, since you gave that ability to your content type, to this particular content, you now have a another setting where you have enabled to generate a URL alias based on what you have created the pattern from, and it will try to get the slash pets. It will create the slash pet slash and whatever value here. So if I do a test pet, okay, with all the necessary casing, the capital, the first letter are in large case. If you save that now, it will now give you a user-friendly URL that came from your um, um, title field. So I hope that helps. This is just a basic scenario. If you need help and if you want more advanced cases or implementations, just let me know. All right. I hope this helps.